Welcome to the Neal's Homestead and welcome to my kitchen. Christmas season is upon us and I always like to make Christmas candy. And I'm going to show you in a series of different Christmas candy recipes that I like to do. For the most part they are old-fashioned kind of Christmas candies, not the new ones that use a lot of store-bought ingredients, but typically ingredients that you might have on hand. Today I'm going to show you how to make pineapple fudge. This was an old family favorite of Dugan's, old guy. His mom used to make it and it was his favorite, so after we got married I had to learn how to make it. Unfortunately, I lost her recipe in a fire that we had. Our house burned down 8 years ago, but I found a recipe online that I think was very close. I'll show you what's in it. There are only 5 ingredients in this recipe. First of all would, without a doubt, be pineapple, and then sugar, and we use evaporated milk. Believe it or not, they had evaporated milk a long time ago. I'm going to use butter, and then I'll finish off with some lemon juice, which adds to the tartness of it at the end. I already have a pan buttered. You want to liberally butter your fudge pan. And then I'm going to use a sizable saucepan here because you don't want anything to boil over and make a mess. Let's get these ingredients in. First I'll add my 1 cup of evaporated milk. Then I'll add my sugar. And then 1 cup of crushed pineapple that's been drained. We'll get that over on the stove and start cooking. While you're melting your sugar and heating it up, you need to pretty much stir it all the time, because if you don't, it could burn and stick to the bottom of the pan. So as you stir, heat up your ingredients here until it comes to a boil. When you've reached a boil here, you want to make sure that you have your burner hot enough that it will go ahead and keep boiling, but you don't want it to be so hot that it's going to boil over. That will make a horrible mess on your stove. And then you need to get a candy thermometer. And we're going to cook this up to a soft ball stage, which is around 235 degrees. See, you can see that it's starting to rise. I've turned it way down, but it's increasing in its volume there. So put your candy thermometer in, make sure you don't have it on the bottom of the pan, but just kind of right in the middle of where all the fluids are to cook them and measure the temperature. You just need to stir occasionally. Fortunately, this is a recipe that you don't have to stand here and stir constantly. So I'm going to turn it down a little bit more. You sure don't want it to scorch. Now this is going to take quite a while for this to reach the soft ball stage, and so we're just going to have to watch it and monitor the thermometer. As it approaches around 225 degrees, you need to be a little more diligent about making sure you keep it stirred and not let the burner be too hot also, because it could stick and be ruined quite quickly. We are getting within just a couple of degrees of the right temperature, so I need to make sure that it's kept moving around, and usually the end of that happens pretty fast. Today the candy making went pretty quick, and I've only been cooking this for about 20 minutes. Sometimes it happens real fast and sometimes it doesn't. And I am at the right temperature, so I'm going to kick it off. I'm going to move the fudge to a cool part of the stove, stir it again, make sure that there's nothing trying to adhere to the bottom. I'll put my butter in, just going to lay it on top. I'm not going to stir it in at this point. And then I'll also add the lemon juice, just pour that in. Now we have to let the fudge cool to about 110 to 15 degrees, and then we'll stir it. So if you're in a hurry, you can also put your pan of fudge down in a sink full of cold water, speed it up a little bit. Well, I've let my fudge cool down, and I decided to let it cool down to 120 degrees on this kind of fudge. I've got my mixer here, and I've got my pan of fudge, so I'm going to begin mixing it and stirring it up, and you stir it and mix it until it loses its sheen. In the old days, a woman would have had to stir this by hand, but today we have mixers, so I'm going to take advantage of my mixer. And it's pretty stiff, so you're going to have to be careful not to let your mixer get burned up. At this point, you also don't want to take too long doing it, because it's going to get stiffer all the time. Your fudge isn't glossy anymore, then it's done and you can pour it into your pan. This batch of fudge is pretty thick, so it's kind of a challenge to get it scraped out into the pan, but it's going to be good. Pineapple fudge is a little bit grainy, more so than other kinds of fudge, but in my opinion that's just the way it is. It's so the taste is so good that you don't really mind the graininess that much. We'll cool that and then give it a taste test.
Well, for many years as I was growing up, one of my favorite foods that my mom always made for me at Christmas was pineapple fudge. And it was always so good. She made a special effort to make that one time a year at Christmas time, and we always enjoyed it. Several times in the last 40 years, Jan has made a special effort to make this pineapple fudge for me also. And it's always good, and it's always very special and appreciated. So I'm going to take a taste test right now. She just finished the batch, and I'm going to see if it's okay. It's okay.